Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep. We once again find ourselves in the map editor. Yep, we've been creating our forest. In fact, the forest was created last episode. If we go up using... Oh boy. I was going to say if we use the keys to go up, then we find ourselves suddenly zooming forward as we move away from the objects. Now let's just rotate ourselves around. So yeah, last episode, we added a bunch of trees to our islands. We have our points of interest, which are these areas out here. We also have the rivers running through the island. We have the little bridges which we can jump across if I just move us around. So let's just switch the object so we don't have a big blue circle following our mouse around. There we go. So we have trees, we have rivers, we have cliffs, and we also have these rocks here which provides us paths around the islands. We've smoothed off the edges of the islands and we have our points of interest. So we have... Let's just go up high in the air and look down upon the island. So we have these points of interest. We have this area at the top, which we are going to probably use to hunt sharks in. We've got this area over here with the sea forts. And we have this area here with a broken sea stack, which creates an arch out to another island. So we have things to investigate. We also have, over here, we have our hidden boat. Our boat in this sort of sea cave. Which is real nice, and you might think, well, we're done, aren't we? This is it. This is the whole island. Everything's done. Not quite. There's a few more things we need to do. We need to really rack up the amount of trees and sort of ground foliage, things like banana plants and stuff. We need to kind of refine the areas that we have around the outside of our islands, and we also need to look at these tiny little islands and do something with them. So what I'm thinking is we can put some more foliage and stuff. We might even be able to ram a boat or something in there to give us something to go and explore. Now, in terms of cheating, in terms of adding a load of items to the island, I'm not too worried about that because in the game, now we will be playing this on the mainstream. In the game, we've got plenty of everything. We've got plenty of bits. We could probably make 2 extra boat motors. We can make a bunch of stuff. We've got all the medical supplies and all the food we can ever want. So it's not really cheating if we add things like these towers and stuff. But it just gives us something to kind of explore. Now, if I go to, let's go to terrain and turn the ocean off, we can kind of see that we are right at the edge of what we can build on in terms of the map. So these little islands are right at the edge of the world, which gives us this area. This is a nice area for hunting sharks. This plateau is real nice because the sharks can all swim around, and if we take something out, we can just go recover them from the sea without having to without losing their bodies in the deep. So that's a thing. And these sea forts. They're pretty much as far out as we can get them without them sort of just falling off the map. So this episode, I thought we could do a bunch of things. We need to kind of make some refinements. We also need to add a bunch more foliage. Now, we'll just hit objects, we'll hit trees, and we'll just kind of get into it. We'll just get into it, shall we? I did have a few comments from Ben from Beam Team. He kindly posted a comment in one of the videos and said, "Oh, you can use keyboard commands to do things in the editor." Now, I've looked in the editor. There are keyboard commands. And I think we knew about some of these, so let's just quickly investigate them. Go back to objects. Objects, please. Objects. We are on objects. What am I talking about? I don't know. So if we click on this, we get this. So if we press F, we focus the object. So if I look away and I'm like, where's this pesky object? F brings us back round. R is rotate, and T is, T is move, or is transform and move the same thing? I'm not entirely sure. So we still need to use the toggles, can we? We can't use the cursor keys to move it around. I don't know if there are more powerful controls elsewhere, but I think those are the 3 controls that we have access to. So we still need to mouse over these things. So we still need to sort of click on the toggles to move them around. But that's fine. That's fine. So what we're going to do is get our old friend, the ficus. Now, I'm not going to put pine trees down because we've already hit the pine tree limit, but the old friend, the ficus, is a really good structural plant. So we're just going to hit Actually hits rotate. So it's the same as these toggles at the top. Oh yeah, look, transform. There is a transform option. It's grayed out. So I guess the developers do have the option to transform. Transform is to make things bigger, so you can actually change the size. Now I think you can do that by editing the JSON file, by editing the like the world files or the save game files or something. But you can't do it in the editor itself. So we're just going to poke this into the ground, so all these little roots are actually in the ground, and we're going to use this tree to kind of block out this area here. Now there is a kind of a bit of a sharp gap there, so I'm just going to go up. I'm going to find a rock, just a big rock, and I'm going to slam that. Whoop! Let's mouse wheel out. In fact, that's not mouse wheel out. Let's use this. There we go. There we are. I'm going to pop that in. And the reason we're doing that, there we go, is to fill in these little gaps. Because I'm being lazy. I don't want to edit the terrain, but I also don't want to get caught, say here, and not be able to jump out of a hole. That would be tragic. So we have this tree. The branches are leaning out over the rocks, which gives shadow on the rocks. So you've got not only structure, but you've also got an effect. The shadow will move around depending on where the sun is. Now the sun's fairly, I think it's like midday sun at the moment. The other thing we can do is go back to trees and just throw some smaller little things around, so we can, there we go, just hit. Yeah. Oh, that's kind of cool. At least just having the ability to switch between modes by using TNR is it's pretty sweet. So we can also put, say, a little bit of driftwood down. So we hit T and then R, we can rotate. Shortcut keys. They are real good fun. Now with these objects, we're just going to rest them fairly close to the surface because they're a physics object. I don't want them to jam into the ground, jam into the iron mesh. But the other thing is I don't want them to do is kind of get stuck in the ground and freak out. So we put a log there. If we come along, we can chop it up we can't actually start a fire using that. But we could use it to refill a fire, or create a platform or something. So there's a bunch of stuff you can do with driftwood. So we got log one there. We're just going to grab some of these other plants and just kind of fill in the gaps really, because there's kind of a big gap there. So we'll rotate this so it's a bit more vertical. And if we hit T, yeah, we drop it down. So no actual transform. It's not in the grass. There we are. There we are. In fact, what I'm going to do is move it out and down a little bit and then rotate it. So it's kind of there. So it's kind of like that. Because that's quite steep there. That's a steep bit of grass. So if we just put that there, it hides the fact that there's like a sudden shelf in the terrain. These rocks kind of look normal, but that kind of looks a little bit weird. And by putting that there, it kind of masks the fact that it is a bit weird. Bear in mind this will have grass all over it, so we don't want to go too nuts here. And again, there's a bit of oddity around the edge. So if we grab our smoothing tool and we change the size all the way down, there we go, and crank the amount up. Remembering, that was okay. That's okay. Remembering that the amount is inherited between these options at the top. So let's grab a banana plant. Banana plant, where are you? Banana plant! Is it alphabetized? Ooh, that would be cool, wouldn't it? Ace. Oh, yeah, it is. I'm looking at it. I'm actually looking at it. There we go. So rotate it so it's kind of not. There we go. That's fine. We don't need to do too much to that. Maybe just pull it out of the rock a little bit. There. So when we come over, we'll sort of hop over. We'll be like, oh, what is over here? Look, a little oasis of calmness. And suddenly not. Yeah, because the camera got too far away from an object. Bearing in mind again that there'll be grass and stuff on that. So that's kind of cool. We put some other things down last time. We put yuccas and stuff, but we're just going to grab. So let's just grab that. Let's give it a little rotate. We're just going to go around now and get the camera off the objects. I'm going to go around and just jam these things in now. Is that the same as that? No, it is not. That's fine. I just want to make sure these are actually in the ground, kind of rotate them vertical, a little bit more vertical, because plants tend to grow towards the light. And if the light happens to be up, then they'll grow up. If they happen to if they happen to be in shade, then they'll tend to grow at an odd angle towards whatever light source it happens to be. So, for example, if you have a house plant and the thing is indoors most of the time, then what will happen is it'll grow. It might actually grow towards the window, and you're like, "Oh, I don't want it to grow towards the window. That is a bit of a silly thing. What are you doing?" Well, what you can do is actually we'll rotate that because there's another plant real close, and they'll look a bit odd if they're all the same. There we go. Just run the camera off those trees. We're only putting these little plants in the grass, by the way. We're not putting them on the sand. The sand is the sole domain of the, I want to say turtles, but not the turtles. That is the palm trees. So let's do that. Little rotate. There we go. And we're just going to tuck these things in where we can. And we're going to tuck a lot of them in where we can. We're just going to put them kind of masking bits of cliffs to make pathing a little bit harder for ourselves. Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to be like, oh, we'll just take the path of least resistance and just run like real close to the rocks. We want to be, oh no, there's too much foliage. We have to kind of change our pathing as human beings. Let's put one here. There we go, little rotate. That'd be nice, because these leaves have translucency to them, so as the sun shines through them, they kind of look real cool. We've got a bit of weirdness going on there, so we're going to go grab an object. We're going to grab a rock. Here we are, big rock. Boop. Let's grab you. Let's press T. Ah, yeah, that's real nice. Real nice. Let's grab that out and push that in a little bit. What we're doing is just trying to mask that. Yeah, mask that kind of just very obvious dip in terrain by throwing another rock in there. Now, let's... there we go. There we go. I'll rotate. Just, yeah, okay. So, like where the grass was, so it's suddenly shelved down as I'm not too happy with that. But here, you've now got a little path of clean rock, and it's okay. It's okay. It looks good. And you got this little path here of clean rock. We could probably do the same thing. We're going to use big rock 2. Boop. So we'll throw that. Okay. We'll throw that in. Give it a little rotate, and rotate. Press T. Yep. Drag it down. Drag it up. Push it back. I think if we rotate that, yeah, that could work. And then, oh no, because that's now the tree is growing in rock. It's not too bad. I mean, the tree doesn't mind that it's growing in rock. I think we don't mind that it's growing in rock. But we'll just rotate this around until it kind of fits with our vision of the world. This bit here, this kind of bit where the grass suddenly starts clipping through, is kind of a little bit odd. There we go. So now we've got the tree is still on my Bear grass, but we've got like steps now, almost. Oh wow, yeah, it does look like steps down onto this platform, which unfortunately will have grass on it, but we can live with that. And then we can kind of like bounce over here. Now the question is, can we actually get up here as a human being when we are running around? Maybe not. What about the other? We should be able to run over the top actually, so we should be able to get onto it. But I think we should be able to path around, sort of. We might end up having to sort of creep along the edge by going down here, and on the way back come across the top. That's fine. You don't want you don't want things to be too easy on yourself when you're playing this, because otherwise you'll just take one path. And the trouble is with taking one path, you'll never see the entire island. So we've got these larger plants. We're going to throw them in. We're going to do exactly the same. Just make the camera go up a little bit. Just give them a bit of a rotate. Throw them in just kind of here and there and everywhere. Is that rotated a little bit incorrectly? Okay, fine. Just as long as the base of it is actually in the ground, that's fine. That's kind of cool. We could do this. There we go. That's all real nice. And it's all adding structure to the island, but it's also adding things for us to avoid. There we go. So we are going to have to walk around it, or it's going to give us things to kind of look at, incidental things to look at. So it's like, oh, the light is shining through there, and it looks quite spectacular, but we're not. We kind of accept it. Kind of, I suppose, it blends into the background. All this green stuff. It's like, well, we expect it to be there, so we take it for granted, which is something humans do a lot. I suppose an example of that would be, what's an example of humans taking things for granted? Okay, yeah, a fly. People go, oh, flies are annoying. If there's one flying around, I'll kill it. I'll hit it with a newspaper. It'll get splat, and then the fly will be gone. And I will not be annoyed by that annoying little fly. That's just terrible. You kind of take for granted that flies exist, but nobody really knows or gives thought to why they exist, or I don't like that, or what their purpose is, or even if they have a purpose, or even if they feel anything. It's like, are those little creatures going around? Do they feel? Do they have emotions? And you might think, no, they're too small. They're insignificant. They have no real higher thought functions. Flies are stupid. And everyone's seen a fly sort of hitting themselves against a window. And they're like, flies, they're stupid and annoying, and I really don't care for them. And so I hit it with a newspaper. The reason flies fly against windows is because I can't see the freaking window. Their compound eyes are just not good enough for navigation in areas where there are things like transparencies. So human-made sort of silica glass is something that shouldn't really exist in a fly's environment. And the thought functions are definitely there. If you've ever done insect photography, for example, insect photography, you will see them both navigate and react to things in the environment, which are kind of cool. They do that an awful lot, and usually with really interesting precision. And if you've ever seen a fly land on a surface, say like a ceiling or the underside of a branch or a leaf, they have curious little lives. They are very interesting creatures. So, as someone who's been out with macro lenses and been like, I'll take a picture of a tiny little fly, and then you see it land on a leaf, and you see it just do the little buzzy thing where it washes its it rubs its legs together and it rubs its eyes. And then they do have a definite thought process in them, and it's just like, but we're humans. We're much more intelligent than these things. Why should I not hit it with a shoe? It's like, well, you can, but it is kind of taking the life of a tiny little thing for granted. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, that's a thing that happens. It's a thing that happens, and it's one of those things that always does a little confusing thing. But like nature, nature's always taken for granted. Like it'll always be there, even if we bulldoze it and build a house on top, or lots of houses, or a car park, or chips, or a factory that makes chips. Or did I say chips? I meant chips. Chips. Okay, so we're back at this island. I know where we haven't done anything. What? Let's zoom over here. There we go. No, the zoom command has zoomed us into orbit, Captain. So there is a bit of sand over here, and I'm like, the sand, because this is fairly low down, but we're still going to put some plants around because there's kind of a thin soil. There we go. There's still a kind of a very thin soil. And where you get things like rocks, the first things you get are I guess lichens. Is it lichens? Some people pronounce it lichen, some people pronounce it lichen. I don't think there's any real right way of describing it. Lichens, lichens, algae, whatever. That's the first thing. And then they kind of live and die on the rocks, and they create a very thin soil. And then other plants come along and kind of exist in that very thin soil. So let's do this. Now what we're going to try and do is make sure there's enough space. If we decide to come out here and put a campfire down here, or decide we want to put a bed here or something, which would be ultimately foolish because it is so close to the sea. I don't know what would happen to this little tiny island should a storm approach, whether it be swamped. I'm not entirely sure it would, actually. I think the island would be surrounded by waves, but it might be an oasis within a wavy environment. Interesting. Should we put a little fruit tree here? Boop. Let's put a fruit tree here. Just a happy little fruit tree. There we are. We'll give it a little rotate as well. Okay, cool. So we've back on the old another little fruit tree. We might as well be quite liberal with the fruits. There's no point in not. There's a huge area here which really should. Let's do a little rotate as well. Little rotate. Give it a little rotate. So this area is huge. If you remember what it was like from like the very, very early episode, when we were just sort of creating this island, and it looked like a very small island. Well, now it looks like a very big island with a lot of stuff going on, and we're kind of now almost struggling to fill it, I guess, with these plants. So it's essentially going through the jungle floor, or the forest floor, more accurately, and just kind of putting stuff in to both block our vision, our line of sight to things, and let's not have too many of these kura trees. Yeah, it's what plants have we not used? Have we used this one? This is a nice plant. I think we kind of have, but we can throw some more of it down. It's not too bad. I mean, yep, there's going to be grass and stuff here, but we need more plants, more things to get in our way as we're running through here. The more stuff, the happier we're going to be. So we need happy little bushes everywhere. There we go. And make sure they're kind of upright and give it a little rotate. There we go. This is, I don't know if this is therapeutic. I suppose it is. But we've added, I mean, look, this peninsula here. There's a big tree, there's lots of other trees, sort of structural elements, and there's these tiny little things, and then there'll be like grass here. So that's kind of cool. We can't do too much with the cave entrance. I mean, we could put other plants here. We're putting lots of plants around the entrance. If this was a narrow entrance, I might put plants either side just to conceal the entrance of the cave. But at the moment, I'm just kind of throwing stuff up to break up things like the cliff sides and any obvious areas of kind of emptiness, I guess. You want things to be too empty. There we go. Let's move the camera so you can actually see what's going on. Yeah. So by adding more and more foliage, we are making it look more and more like a believable island. And believe me, you need more foliage than you think you do. There is another trick we can do, though. There's another trick we can do in terms of adding in. See, we can add that plant there. We can add another plant here, as long as we keep it rotated. These are all the same. Nope. So it's rotated, but it's also hidden behind this guy here. So if we're running in at an angle, we're not really going to notice that those plants are the same. Same species. It's fine. We'll grab this guy and run it in here. I was thinking this engine or this environment would be good if we could add a few dinosaurs in here. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Does anyone remember the old Jurassic? Ooh, was it Jurassic Park? Trespasser. I think it was Trespasser. And I've played, oh my god, I did play that. It had a wobbly pink blancmange arm. It was a very, very curious game. Very curious game. Where they were trying to do too much for the time. So the engine couldn't really handle forests. So what they did is they tried to position the dinosaurs, because the dinosaurs' AI wasn't going to initialize very quickly. They would kind of wait for you, and they would kind of hide behind a tree, but it was obvious that they were there. It was a bit janky, and even at the time, it didn't even run on like every computer. It needed a ridiculously powerful computer to even start moving. And people said, "Well, it's not great," but it's actually one of my favorite, I guess, memories of playing games. Some games you just don't want to go back to, and I think that's definitely one of them. I wish there was like an updated version of it. I wish like Jurassic Park it's such a good title to do stuff with, and yet people don't seem to want to do like make a proper dinosaur game. I don't know. The license should be on fire. But yeah, this engine. I don't know if the AI could be repurposed, like the shark AI could be repurposed and put into something like a little velociraptor, or I was probably on this size island. I wouldn't say a T-Rex. That would be too much. Too much. And you'd be like, oh, this is too much. I do not want the velociraptor eating my face off. I do not believe he would be able to. Velociraptor or T-Rex? We said T-Rex. We don't want the T-Rex on the island. Banana plant, come back. Banana. I don't think we can run through the banana plants, but not sure. So we've got plenty of plants at the moment. I'm not sure we can hit like a level. Ooh, like an item limit. I don't know. We got the banana plants. We got these guys. We got these guys with the flower. I believe we do somewhere. We started putting them in. These guys, and then the ficus and the cur and the quawa. A few quawa. What are you hitting? You're hitting some. Oh, that has a huge hitbox around it. Some of these plants actually have a massive hitbox around them, which is kind of interesting. We do have quite a few plants now, and I'm keeping the camera deliberately kind of at ground level. Now it's not going to be perfect in terms of. I know what we don't have. I know what we really desperately need to get into the island, which we can use as both resource and a way of making the island look a bit more busy. A little bit more busy. Busy. Cool. So we'll add a few of these bushes around. There we go. Just throw them in. And if you think, oh, this area doesn't have much going on in it, because we do have rocks kind of inland as well, which is kind of cool. Just throw a shrub in there. Throw a shrub in there. Good. It's like a mad gardener's paradise. Oh, weird. Oh, I know where we could put a fruit bush. Yeah. Here, what did he do with the fruit bush? Yep. No, fruit shrub. Done. So yeah, these creating an island does take a long time. I'm not being deliberately slow. I'm going as fast as I can, and probably even faster because of the recording, because of the recording this for YouTube. But there we go. Yeah, it does take a long time to do it properly, a few hours, which is why I would recommend breaking it up during several days. So these pine small, look, pine small. So we grab the pine small, boop, and we throw it in. We have a tiny little pine tree that can be used for sort of breaking up the forest floor, but also for filling in these gaps. So hopefully we can get all the foliage and stuff in this episode. Oh, that'd be so cool. And then in the next episode, we can focus on things like shipwrecks and resources and stuff. And then we can just like tidy up. What else? Let's put him there. Just give it a little rotate so it doesn't look the same as all the others. And these guys are interactable objects, so these guys can be chopped down if we need sticks for anything, which is good. I think there is a ficus that we can't get hold of. So that's I believe it's one of the ficus trees that isn't in the editor options. So that's it. I mean, it's nice that we have the option to actually throw these guys in, because I think I don't know if it's called if it's ficus or if it's just referred to as tree. I'm not entirely sure. Whoop, we're just dropping down, dropping the camera down. Right, okay. So we've got definite zones where certain trees are growing. Oh yeah, look at this area. It's almost empty, so we'll throw these guys in. Make sure he's upright, because these small pines can be angled, whereas the big ones can only be facing straight up. So let's do this. Give it a little rotate. And then let's go pine small 2. There we go. That's a bigger version of the same thing. Yeah, so this is a few sticks. So that's probably one stick, and the other ones are a few sticks. And we keep slamming the old camera into bits of tree and foliage, which is a good sign because it means we're actually getting there in terms of our island. Yeah, look at this. It looks way more like an actual forest floor now. Yeah. Give him a rotate so he doesn't look like he's... So we'll just throw this in here. So we're still able to navigate around all these plants. I think there's certain bits of plants that we can't kind of navigate around. Rotate and rotate. So vertical and then rotate on its axis. Yeah. Yeah. This is nice. This is nice. I'm getting the feel this will be a good area to be in. I'm kind of focusing on this area because it is one of the larger areas to kind of fill in. What's a path like? Is there an obvious path through here? No. And sort of the view down to the sea is now almost completely obscured by greenery and plants and things. So that's exactly what we want. It is exactly what we want. There we go. Throw another thing here. So we don't need to come along and just chop everything down. In fact, I probably won't come along and just chop everything down. But what we can do is use this if we're desperate for resources. Again, not really, because I think we've actually we're stuck on a... Let's use the turbo button. It's actually referred to as the turbo button in the controls. It's like, hey, what's the... So it's not move forward faster. It's actually turbo, which is very... Oh god, that's a very 80s thing. And it used to appear on old computers, the turbo button. And you might say, wait a minute, what does the turbo button do? Oh, okay, so in the old days of computer programming, there were the programs operated at a certain speed. So the program might operate at a speed defined by the processor. The processor core. The processor might go at something like 10 megahertz or 20 megahertz. And you might have a 386, which runs at 33 megahertz. Wow! Bear in mind that a lot of processors these days run multi-core processing at around 3 gigahertz. So there's order of magnitudes difference between old processing and new. But the program would run at a speed sort of, it would be tied to the processor speed. That was fine until you had something like a 386 would run at 33 megahertz, and then you would need to slow it down. You just need to slow that down, otherwise the program will run too fast. So the turbo button literally switched. It was kind of like an underclock button, I guess. It wasn't a turbo button. Turbo was just meaning that you ran your processor at its default speed, but you could unselect the turbo button, and then the processor would run at a lot slower speed. So as to make your programs actually run kind of normally. Right, so we've got a lot of palms and pines and stuff. We probably need some small pine trees here. Don't need to go too nuts at this point. There we are. Let's run that in. And here. What? I'm going to give it a little twirl. Here? What about here? No. Bad things have happened. Oh, that's okay. We can sort that out. Does that actually clip through? No. It looks a little odd, but we can always chop it down if it displeases us. Your tree displeases us, and we will chop it down with its face. All right. So we're putting the small pine trees near the big pine trees, kind of to say, well, they probably came from pine seeds or pine cones. So it's logical that the baby pine trees would be here. Wah. We're now having a real hard time getting the camera, which is our face, through this. I want to say menagerie, but it's not. Menagerie is animals. Through this collection of greenery. There we go. There we go. Ugh. Just have to keep hitting that damn button. Damn button. Oh, all the buttons. So we pretty much almost done with the greenery, with one glaring and somewhat obvious exception, which we haven't even touched yet. So let's get these guys in. More greenery here. You need more greenery than you think you do. That is, if you take nothing away from this video, take away that you need way more greenery than you think you do. Because otherwise it's going to look a little bit barren, a little bit sparse, a little bit bare. Let's do this. And our island is looking almost exactly the same as it did at the beginning of the video, with a few exceptions. There's a tree over there now, which looks like it's kind of hanging off in the world, but as soon as we get close, everything pops in, so that's kind of cool. There's no pine trees here, because this side of the island has no pines, no big pines, so we're not going to put any little ones in. Big pines in the middle, so we've got all the little ones in there. Yeah, so we now have a fairly dense and interesting forested area in the actual island itself. And I think we need young palms, young palm 1 and young palm 2, and that is for the outside. So we're just going to put it in and give it a spin. And you might find that we're going to do this all over the place. And this is partly to give us some fibrous leaves to play around with, and partly to kind of give us an indication, or like at least sense, that there is kind of a life cycle going on the island itself. So there's these tiny little, there's young trees and there's the more mature trees, and everything's kind of growing up. And we're only going to put these on the outside of the island, so they're not going to go on the grass. We could put them on the grass. We could put them in the sea for all the game cares, but we're not. We're going to put them on the sand, and we're going to put them only in places where other palm trees are. Now we're going to do a pass now this way. We're even going to put them over here. Wait, what? Yeah, it's just a little bit of interest on the coast. There we go. Because the cocoa nuts are going to drop from the tree, and then either go in the sea or they'll just grow in the ground. That's what coconuts do. So the coconuts float, and the rest of the greenery will be carried in bird poop, because birds eat seeds and they fly around and then they poop on things. Because well, if you ever owned a vehicle, you'll know that for a fact. So we're just throwing these guys in, kind of almost at random, given just a spin, no sort of thought or calculation about it. Again, partly to give us fibrous leaves and partly to just make it look good. And half of this is just making it look good. We don't really need this number of fibrous leaves, and to be honest, I think most of these we'll never even touch in terms of resources. Might come in and build a shelter. I'm sure we're not going to come here and actually flood the island with our human ways and turn it into housing, or a factory for making chips. What is it with chips? Freaking chips. I don't want that there. Go away. So we can just delete that. I suppose I could just press the delete on the keyboard. Little spinny spin. Oh wait, chips. Yeah, that's British chips, which is chipped potato, not crisps, which is American chips. Wow, American's weird. Okay, put that down. We got plenty of these guys in. Yeah, we have. And then we can just hit the young palm 2. So we'll do a quick pass around with the young palm 2. It's a different size, so we just thread it in. We don't need that many, just to make it look like things are kind of going on in the world. So we're doing a second pass. Is it therapeutic, or am I just at this point getting a little bit of Stockholm? Questions. Don't know. I'm actually getting quite attached to the island, though. That's that's a good sign. It's a good sign. It's starting to look. It's starting to feel good. It's starting to feel nice. I like this. God knows what happens when there's a storm. There is this kind of sandy edge to the world, so I think that the big waves will stop a fairly significant distance before the edge of the actual island itself, which is nice, real nice. And we've already established we can climb on most things. What I might need to do is put it into the game once this island is complete, and then give it a little test, and then sort of tweak things afterwards, just to kind of run around the island and see if we can jump on everything, and see if we can, because what you don't want to do, especially if you're doing a YouTube series or even a Twitch playthrough, is to create an island and spend all the time creating it, and then to find that actually the island doesn't really work in the way you envisaged. Some things are just not there, or some things are a little bit awkward to jump on, or you've created something and it's just like, well, I've done this, and it's like it's not how I thought it would be. So you can go back and adjust it, and you can actually drag. So the way you do this is you press escape and save once you've got your island created, obviously, and you can save as many times as you want. Once you've created your island, what you do is you go back to the cartographer, you select it from the list on the left hand side, and you literally just drag it onto a free square, any square that isn't red, because that's the square you're on. So we've been around the island, we've put these little, so we've got the big palm trees, we've got the little palm trees. I'm going to delete that, it looks odd. Yep, there we go. So we've got the big palm trees, we've got the little palm trees, we've got the big pines, little pines, we've got ficus, we've got fruit trees, we've got a lot of these tiny, you look a little bit odd, you're kind of growing at an angle. I want it to be a bit more upright. There we are. There we are. And we've got a bunch of interests. We've got these rocks, which are kind of seemingly in the middle of nowhere, but there are things we would need to walk around. Well, in one direction, walk around, in the other direction, probably jump over. So that's kind of cool. So in terms of greenery, I think we're about done there. Yeah, I think we're about done. That's really good. We've got these little islands on the outside. Good. That's nice. We can start putting items into the world. That might actually help us out. Let's do this. Let's go and look at items. Close rocks up. So things like sticks. Let's do that. So the sticks are items that we can pick up from the floor. Now, if you've noticed in the other episodes, especially ones where we've created an island, we sort of run around picking up sticks to make shelters and stuff. They are not accidental. They're not been placed in the world accidentally. They are something that we have put in deliberately. That's the wrong thing. Let's pick that up. Let's hit R to rotate. Let's give it a rotate. So what I tend to do is put these in the forested areas, the wooded areas, and just kind of, I don't know if it needs to, I don't know if it's okay there, how it's positioned, but I tend to lift them off the floor slightly and then give it a little rotate so that they're not touching the floor, because it's a physics object, and because I'm a little bit wary of physics in Unity. What I don't want is for the thing to suddenly fly off into space. So we get close to the island and then suddenly things are flying off to space. But logically, you're going to get detritus on the floor of a woodland. So you'll get things like sticks, and you'll get things like not necessarily coiled rope, but the sort of usual things you can pick up are going to be on the outside. So that's why we are, let's make sure we are on the right object. So we're just going to put a bunch of sticks down kind of randomly. At some point, I'm actually going to forget where all these little objects are, or even how many of them are there are in the world. So it's not really cheating. The game would normally give you these objects anyway. So it's kind of cool. We'll just press R, give it a rotate, make sure it's actually not touching anything which isn't. We've got this weird ridge here, which is kind of an effect of us brushing around, which I'm kind of happy with. Let's throw a stick in there. Rotate. No, I'm rotating the wrong thing, because I'm looking at it thinking, whoa, that's actually, is that the same position as it was last time? How about that? Yeah, that's fine. Ooh, there's a little dangery thing. There we go. Let's do that. So T raised up. So yeah, we don't have transform. Transform's grayed out. That is a curious thing if that ever actually gets implemented in the editor. That'd be very interesting thing, because you'd be able to stretch things like you make monster trees and monster wrecks. I don't know how useful that would be actually, to transform something and change its size. Like items like this, would it even be at all useful? I don't know. So this ficus, I'll go and put some objects here. That's fine, but it's way too high. Why is it way too? Probably because it's settled on the ficus's hitbox, because there's a weird little hitbox thing here. That's okay. Let's do another one. Let's poke another stick in here. I'm just going to loosely, yeah, it's hitting the hitbox of these plants. Although, because it's a physics object, I think because when you get into the game proper, these boxes don't count for anything. There we go. I'm only putting it around places where there's pines and ficuses. I'm going to put any around the areas where we have palm trees, and I'm not going to put any on the coast because I don't think, because these are essentially stuff that's dropped from trees for us. So that's okay. We'll put another one here. Even if we don't use them, they still are interests and things in the world which we can kind of glance at as we're running past. So they're still making the world richer. And this area here, which we should not forget about, we should still put stuff in here. And again, the little tiny pine trees. So the young pines will still be able to give us useful material. Let's just hit T and push that to where we want it to be. There we go. Put that next to the floor. Give it a little rotate. There we go. Cool. Just so a few more items. We'll probably get onto some other items next time. Let's hit R. No. T, R. Move it around. Make sure it's kind of in line with the floor. I have a feeling that what happens is you kind of come into the world, and then this stuff, because it's an object, when you first get close and you're close by with your raft. Just trying to remember what I was saying there. Yeah, when you get close by with your raft, all the objects will sort of have physics applied, and they'll just drop down into their final position. So you won't see any of that. I guess that's that little stutter as the island loads in. Nice. So let's just raise them up. So we've got a bunch of sticks around the island, which is kind of cool. So that's the wrong toggle. That's the wrong toggle again. That's the wrong item. Why am I not? Let's just rotate the camera a little bit. Just bring it up. Don't need to rotate everything. So we have a bunch of sticks. The most sticks are kind of in this middle area. Then we've got some sticks in this area. Then we've got a few sticks over here. Rocks are good. And again, if you've noticed, what I tend to do is put rocks on the outside of the island. Now. We're getting into weird territory because we need shoreline rocks. So where are you, shoreline rock? Shoreline rock 1 and shoreline rock 2. And you might think, well, hang on a minute. What are you doing with the shoreline rocks? That's kind of weird, isn't it? You're kind of putting these things down. Yep, kind of. What I want to do is put these rocks down. I think shoreline rock 2 is nicer, smaller. There we go. So let's put these down. And again, hit R, give it a rotate. So they're just collections of rocks that will be on the shore. And what we're going to do is kind of position them so the part in the water, part out. There we go. And just throw these around the outside of the island so they add a little bit of interest, break up the shoreline here and there. Cool. Don't need to be too kind of specific. I'll just use that to hide the edge of something that's kind of poking out the water. Nice. So it gives us, I mean, we can kind of have a little jump on them. It gives us something to play around with as well. Also, like here, where there's a little pool, It kind of suggests that there might be something under the sand that might be interfering with things. Yeah, so there's more under the sand than there actually is. It's kind of cool. Shoreline Rock 1. Let's get that in. Yeah, there we go. Oh, just settle that. That actually settles quite nicely, slightly further out. That's nice to know, actually. Good to know. Good to know. Put this here. Boop. There we go. There we go. So there's more stuff, more points of interest, more things for us to kind of interact with. And then we go back to items. Grab the rock. Now the rock, as far as I'm concerned, you can just drag and drop. You don't need to do anything with it. It's a rock. Yep, the items. You're gonna be like, oh well, actually, it looks like they're all rotated in the same way. And yeah, well they are, but I mean you can rotate them if you want. But they're such a small item that it doesn't really matter. And I know for a fact that even if these are jabbed into terrain, it doesn't matter too much. Should we just add another rock there? Give them a quick rotate. Yeah. So anywhere where there's a bunch of rocks near the shore, it's like stuff's been washed up, broken away or broken off. There we go. So we'll just add a few around these areas. It's kind of interesting as well because it kind of like as a player, you say, there's rocks over there. I need some loose rocks. That's where I'm going to be looking for them. So that's kind of the idea about this. So we'll pop them in, give them a quick rotate. Just don't need to really. Just so there are things for us to pick up when we need to make things like shelters, or if we need to make things like arrows, arrowheads, and various bits and pieces. We'll put 4, like at most around here, which isn't overkill, I guess, because we can go through like tons and tons of arrows. We can make tons and tons of specialist weapons and various bits and pieces. Cool. So I'll just throw a few more. We're just going around the outside at the moment. There's a few areas on the inside which I'll probably put some rocks, but they might. See, it's easier to see rocks on the sand than it is to see them in other places. And even here, why don't we put a few here as well? Yeah, cool. Cool. That's nice. It's nice. So that's a happy little rock. Happy little rock. Cool. And we're almost right back round. So we kind of go clockwise around the island, just throwing stuff in. And then we're back to where we started. So if you do a clockwise pattern around the island, that'd be nice. This is a bit weird here. It's a bit weird. Let's get rid of that. Yep. Still looks a bit weird. It won't have to matter. Won't have to matter. The other place I wanted to throw some rocks is just in this little bowl here, because it's close enough to this kind of rocky outcrop that it might suggest that you got some rocks and stuff going on here. And even if they're not used, even if we completely ignore them, it's kind of a cool thing. So we have our points of interest on the outside of the island. We have our little islands away from the main islands, which are really nice. We have all our trees. We have our sort of forest floor foliage. We can't see the grass because that's not rendering yet because we're not in game. We have our little resource trees and bushes and shrubs in, and even without the grass, even without like the final form, and even without the dynamic lighting, it's looking real busy in here. It's looking real nice. So that is something I'm kind of pleased with, actually. Yeah, it's coming on. It's coming on really good. It's really good. So we have our paths around the island. We have our little stepping stones. So we're not going to be using single routes around the island. We have a greenery. We have our rocks. We have some resources and various bits and pieces. Other things, objects. We probably are going to want to put down. No, I'm not going to put water bottles down because that's stupid. Rope coils, no, because we need to make those. No flare guns, nope. No fuel cans. Maybe lanterns. Lanterns are kind of good. Maybe we'll pop them on a wreck later on. Cloth, no. Torch, no. Label maker, no. But no. Tarps. Yeah. We need tarps. So another sort of bit of shoreline detritus. We'll just throw these down. And again, T, just bring it out the sand. So it's and not just kind of sparingly, I guess. So raise it up and then press T. Press R. Whoop, give it a little rotate. There we go. Yeah, just kind of throw these things around on the outside. We don't need this many. To be honest, we'll probably end up leaving quite a lot of them. But it's just a bit of partly to look nice and partly to actually be useful to us should we need to run and make some water stills or something. There we go. Don't even need to rotate that one. Cool. So we've got some various bits and pieces. There's another one over there. All right, cool. And it also gives us a reason to come down to the shore and kind of run around the shore collecting items. Good. We're not done yet. The tarps are in driftwood. Oh yeah, driftwood. DDD. Driftwood stick. Driftwood. Ooh, where are you? Is it part of trees? It might actually be part of trees. Machete, ripcord sticks. No. Ooh, is it part of trees? Potato plant. Kurakawa. There is a collection of driftwood thingies. Is it one of these logs? Nope, it's the old vertical log. Again, vertical log. And vertical log. Where are you? There is essentially it is I can't read trees. It must be in items. It is the driftwood collection. Driftwood stick. No. Crispy arrow. Oh boy, where are you? Refined pick. Good lord, I'm actually finding it hard to find it. So the driftwood stick is just a single stick, isn't it? Yeah. We don't want that. It's not good. Morphine bandage, torch, cloth, machete, duct tape covers, water bottle, rope coil. I can't find it. I'm sure I've been past it many a time. Well. You know what though? We can always sort that out next episode. Until then. And next episode, what we'll do is we will go around and we will look at sorting these wrecks out. I think this wreck here needs to be sorted out. So we can sort out the wrecks. We can put things in these little pools and ponds. We can get some interesting points of these things in, and we can also get the sharks in. I think next episode we might actually have this thing finished because we've got most of what makes an island actually already here. Cool. And you know what? I'm going to save it on camera just to show you. So we hit save, description, name, good, and then we just hit save. Done. Just to show you that that's how everything works. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So you know what? I'm going to leave it there. If you're liking this little diversion to the main series, and don't worry, we will be back before long in Stranded Deep proper, playing the game and trying not to get eaten by sharks. But and we'll even be playing this very island. That'd be wonderful. That'd be brilliant. But until then, throw a like, throw a subscribe if you're enjoying this. Give us a thumbs up because that might help YouTube witchcraft work in terms of searching and stuff, or a dislike if you didn't like it, because that also helps YouTube witchcraft work for some reason that I'm not privy to. And tell your friends about the channel because that might actually help us out big time. Until then, bye.